there. Good afternoon. What's happening? Hello there, darling. Hope you are wonderful and well on this thankful Thursday. Of course, you know, as I always say, I'm grateful to be in my right mind, grateful to be in the land of the living, activities of my limbs, not in nobody's hospital, not in nobody's jail. I know yesterday you guys saw the video that I did in front of Mickey D's. And one of the things that I do is I have all of my shows already, the topics, subtopics, all the way up to maybe 4 or 5 months into the year. And so as life happens and things transition, I just end up filling in the gaps for the skeleton and put the meat on the bones. Like my pastors say, just here's the skeleton, put the meat on the bones. If you're tuning in, you're tuning into Yeah, I Said It, and before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. I'm live at Evolution Beauty Bar, where you can come get evolutionized and get all beautified, okay? Get your beauty on and popping. We have some wonderful stylists and wonderful young ladies here at the shop that are waiting for you, including myself. We're ready to get these lashes going, okay? But if you're tuning in, I talked about yesterday about work your brand. And in the time frame that we're living in, with the government shutdown, and I don't know if you guys remember a video that I did in 2016 when number 45 won the presidency. I did a video, and I'm not claiming prophecy. I'm not claiming that I'm Miss Cleo or none of that. But I did a video, and I talked about how all of the things that are happening now were going to happen. I wasn't sure how soon they were going to happen, but I knew that they were going to happen. And somebody's going to do something to number 45. I'm not sure what they're going to do to him, but it's not going to end well for him. And it's going to be, it's not going to be a tragedy for us. And I know that when you look at certain things, we can oftentimes have the tendency of looking at it in a panic or a panic's eye. But you know what? There's a calmness that I have in my spirit right now. I'm not doing a lot of talking. I'm not doing a lot of conversing with people because I want God to talk to me, and I want to be able to hear what he has to say. And so with that being said, sometimes silence is key. And sometimes when you're talking so much, you can't hear what God is trying to tell you because you're conversing and getting everybody's opinions about your life. But if you're tuning in, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It, and I'm your girl, Jaja, and we're talking about working your brand. Now, what people fail to realize is brand is what you represent, what it is visually that people can see about what it is that you're doing. And you can not only have a personal brand, but you also have a business brand, and just vice versa. If you have a business brand, you also have a personal brand. It's like a person who has a fashion company or a hairstylist, but your hair ain't never done. You're your own brand. It's like you're a teacher, but yet you're always talking about you hate students. It's a brand. You have to be careful how you brand yourself in 2019 and furthermore, because you have to be mindful of the brand that you're exuding, what it is that you're exemplifying, what it is that you're showcasing, because you could be a wonderful business person but a horrible person. And I know you all have seen and talked to people who have said, oh, this person, they got money, but they stingy. So you have to be mindful of the brand that you're exemplifying and on display for others. If you're tuning in, you're tuning into Yeah, I Said It, and before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. I'm talking about working your brand. Now, the difference between a multi-billion-dollar company like McDonald's and some of your companies and some of your brands is that they utilize strategy. And when you utilize strategy, you can maneuver in steps a different type of way than you just doing stuff. And I remember there was a point where I was so busy, but I was just busy doing stuff. There wasn't a resolve to what it is that I was doing. I was going on these events, I was talking to all these people, but I was just doing stuff. And so in this season, you have to make sure that you're very strategic about the moves that you make, the connections that you have, the relationships that you develop. I talked last week about being a circle in a room full of squares, and it also goes with your brand. You can't talk about being a businesswoman or a businessman, but yet you still want to hang out on the block and do what it is that they're doing. You have to maneuver a lot differently. Now, I'm not saying don't forget where you come from, because believe you me, I'm from Joy Road Exit 9, come up off the freeway, okay? And I'm going to rap that till I die. But at the end of the day, I also know I can't take the Joy Road mentality to speak at a conference or speak to certain people. I know that I have to put that on a shelf, and when it's time for me to take Joy Road Jaja out, I know where she fits in my life and what it is that I'm doing. And so when you're working your brand, you also have to find out what your goals, what it is that you're trying to be successful at. What are you trying to succeed at? And see, sometimes we get to a place where we're not really sure what it is that we want to do, and so we're all over the place. We start just doing stuff. So when you have strategic goals in mind, I want to do this, within this amount of time. Look at what you have to exercise on that goal, what you don't have, and then find a way to complete it. When you know what your goals are, who it involves, when you need to do it, why you're doing it, when you start paying attention to those intricate parts of your goals, then things are not as hard. And let me tell you something. 2019, it already started crazy, okay? I've had some challenges and some changes. And mentally, had this been a few years back, I would have been pulling my wig off and sitting it right here on the table because I just couldn't take it. But I'm so grateful because I'm looking at my circumstances a lot differently than I've done before. And you have to have a different viewpoint, a different outlook. You have to have a different peace and a different resolve within yourself in order for you to obtain those goals. But if you all over the place personally, it will reflect your business. If you don't have things in order personally, it's going to be hard to excel on those goals that you have professionally, because your personal life is going to be draining at your professional life. And it can be very difficult. It could be very, very draining. And if you're honest with yourself, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Not only knowing who, what, when, why, where for your goals, but you also understand what the vision is. What did God show you? And a lot of times we just go off and we just do stuff that God didn't tell us to do. You know, we make connections and we end up in relationships that God did not approve of. And then we end up with the heartbreak or the disappointment when that was not something God had for your life in the first place. I've made that mistake on many occasions, connecting with people, developing relationships with people that I thought may be beneficial. And in actuality, they weren't beneficial at all. Actually, they were hindering me from my goal and from my purpose and tainting my brand. And you don't realize it until you start listening and conversing and talking and doing certain things with certain people, when you realize, okay, this might not be the best fit for what it is that I'm trying to do. And I get it. Sometimes an opportunity comes in your lap and you shoot at the opportunity, but does it help you or does it hinder you? And so in this season, you have to understand, am I connecting with people, doing things, doing business with people that are going to help me and take me to the next level for my brand? And what do I have to offer for those individuals that I'm partnering with for their brand? You have to pay attention to the vision. I talk to a lot of my clients from my Hubbard Resource Group, shameless plug, but it's my plug, for my clients, and I ask them, well, what's your vision? What do you see? What does it look like? What do the colors look like? What does the door look like? What does your paperwork look like? What does the application look like? What do your t-shirts look like? What do your products look like? What does it look like? See, vision is a visual of what it is that you see, that what God has placed in your mind to see. And if you don't follow the goals and the steps to get to that vision, you'll just be doing stuff. And so when you have your vision is for your brand. I'm sure that when McDonald's was sitting there talking, and they tried to figure out, okay, how are we going to be strategic and what does our brand look like? And they came up with that golden arch. And that golden arch can be seen around the world. And at the end of the day, I don't care if you don't eat it or you don't like it, you know when you see it, that's McDonald's. And at the end of the day, everybody around the world knows that this is McDonald's and they know that golden arch. Now, one of the things that McDonald's was very strategic on is when they first started coming out, they attacked our kids. And when I say attack them, they attack them through commercials. They attack them through billboards. That Happy Meal was illustrated as better than dinner, better than a hot home-cooked meal. They advertised and were strategic about their brand to make sure that parents knew, if I can get my kid a Happy Meal, my kid will be happy. Now you fast forward, you have Wendy's with the 4 for $4. Now you have all of these other competitors trying to keep up. Listen, if you're tuning in, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It, and before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. We're talking about work your brand and don't let your brand work you, honey, okay? Because we don't want to just be doing stuff just to be doing stuff. Now, when you work, figure out the tools that you have. What do you have that can work your brand? What tools you have, what's the team that you have, and the talent versus the gifts. And not only the talents versus the gifts, but the pay that you have. Listen, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It, and before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. Listen, we're talking about working your team. The team that you have, the tools, the team, and the talent. Listen, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It, and before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. I'm not exactly sure what that noise was. I guess it was our alarm at the shop. But you know, that's how I go. You got to stay safe out here on these streets of 7 Mile. You're tuning in, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It, and before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. Not only do you have to know the tools that you have, but you also have to know the team that you have. Everybody is only as effective as the team lead. If the team lead isn't effective, the team won't be effective. People follow leadership. And when there's leadership, when leadership is around, there are people that follow into leadership. And true leadership doesn't create and keep followers. True leadership turns those followers into leaders themselves. They allow their talents and their gifts to be expounded. That's why you can go to a camp of people that are celebrities and they put their people on, they put their family on, they put their other people on tracks and different things of that nature because they want everybody to grow. They truly desire for everyone to win. Now, I was talking to a friend of mine and I said, you know, people have the desire to want to build great teams and they have a desire for everybody to win, but it also has to be a follow through on wanting the people to win. You also have to follow through on the things that you say and the things that you do in order for that to be effective, in order for that brand to work. It's not enough to have the tools, have the team, have the gifts and the talents, and then not execute on any of it. Listen, you're tuning into Jaja. You're tuning into Yeah, I Said It, and you're listening to your girl Jaja. And before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. We're talking about working your brand and making sure that your brand works for you. You also have to understand that don't be at the wrong place at the right time. Sometimes we can be in the wrong place at the right time. It doesn't mean that the place where you're at isn't effective. It just means that might not be the place for you at that very moment. You may have to step back, get some things together, and then go back to it. Because it's one thing to have access to something, and then it's a whole ball game to actually be able to utilize what you have access to. See, it's like a hairstylist that knows how to press hair and cut hair. But if you put a whole slew of color in front of them, they don't know how to color. So you have to understand the tools and the resources that you have in order to be effective. And it also means that sometimes you may have to go back to the drawing board. You may have to start over. And listen, it's nothing like starting over because you have a clean canvas. It's January. We have a clean canvas of 2019. Some people did not make it over, and I thank God that I was one of the people that did. But you have a clean canvas of what you can do for this year. And you have to start out with a plan in order for you to be effective, for your brand to be effective. And not only that, but you also got to know your limits. You got to know your limits. You got to know your worth. You got to know what you have to offer, what you don't have to offer, what you can do, what you cannot do. Some of us get disappointed. We overexert ourselves. We have anxiety. We become depressed because we put expectations on people that are not realistic. We have expectations for ourselves that we know that we can't fulfill. And sometimes we have to be very mindful of what it is that we're doing so that we're able to be effective. We want to be effective in everything that we do. And not only that, when you have a person like our president who knows what he's doing in terms of his life, he doesn't have a clue as to what we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis because he hasn't experienced that type of lifestyle. When you come from a lifestyle of wealthy individuals, you don't have a clue of what struggle is like. You don't have a clue as to making ends meet. You don't have to deal with some of the ramifications and the health issues or the challenges that a person has to face when they're dealing with low income or having struggles with their economics or with their finances. He doesn't have a realization of that. What he does have a realization is that I want what I want when I want it. And see, you have to be careful of people who want what they want when they want it. People that want what they want when they want it will do anything, and it doesn't matter how they make you feel. It doesn't matter what they do. At the end of the day, they want what they want. And so you have to always be mindful of that and be careful of that when you're dealing with people who are so tunnel vision that they can't see what's around them. You have to be mindful of those people because they'll do whatever it takes to put you in a bind, but become successful in what it is that they're trying to do. So you always have to be mindful of that. And not only that, when you're dealing with somebody who is hip to brands, they know how to work the system. Believe you me, they'll work the system and they'll work you as well. So you have to be mindful of that as well. And not only that, you pay attention to the things that they say as well as the things that they do. Because if they don't match up, then it doesn't work. That means that they need to go back to the drawing board. And not only that, but you have to be mindful of people who please people. People pleasers. People pleasers will get in the way of the brand. They'll get in the way of executing what it is that you're trying to do. Because at the end of the day, they won't say, no, that don't make sense. Well, maybe let's try it this way. You know, maybe that might not be as effective. You know what, let's try it, but if it doesn't work, let's do this instead. And we're talking about working your brand. If you're tuning in, you're listening to I Said It, and before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. We're talking about working your brand. And a lot of us don't realize that our personal brand is just as effective and just as important as our business brand. Because at the end of the day, if you're a person that's a stylist and you always looking bummy, how are you? Nobody's going to take you serious because they're going to be like, well, how are you a stylist if you don't ever look like you in style? Like, that don't make sense. How can you brand yourself as this particular entity if it doesn't reflect your personal brand? And I'm going to tell you something. You are what you represent. You are who you represent. And if you a shiesty business person, if you are, a person that's not a person that doesn't have integrity, if you're a person that's always trying to slip and slide and scheme and scam, that is a reflection of you personally as well as your business. Because at the end of the day, that's how you govern your life. When it comes down to how parents delegate their children, how they deal with their household, how they deal with their vehicle, how they deal with their life in general, it is a reflection of them as a brand, their personal brand. It is a reflection of them as a person that they are. And you have to be mindful that you're dealing with people who are reflective of that brand that you want to exude, that you want to exemplify. Because some people are not what they seem, they are not who they say they are. And see, a lot of people know how to play the fool, and they know how to finesse very well. I say all the time that Detroit is the city of the hustling hustlers and the starving stars, because everybody in Detroit is important, and everybody in Detroit is hustling, trying to make ends meet, trying to figure it out, trying to do what they can to get it together. And sometimes, we get a little ahead of ourselves because we're not actually in an area where we can actually be what we say we are. It doesn't mean that that's not what God wants for us. It just means that there are steps in order for us to qualify and become successful in that brand. So look, you're listening to I said it, before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. And I know you heard me the first time. I know one thing's for sure, two things for certain, is that you always have to be mindful of the connections that you have with other people and the things that represent you. If it doesn't represent you, then you wanna be mindful of that. You don't want to get caught up with other people's brands and you're not fulfilling your brand for yourself. Because what'll end up happening is you'll become disappointed. You'll become disappointed in what it is that you have to offer. I'm trying to get this other phone together because it's doing something crazy. I don't know what that's all about, but you know what? It's all good because we're going to keep it moving, baby, because that's what she does, okay? So, anywho, you also got to be mindful of the haters, the copycats, because everybody thinks that they can do what you do. Only you can do what you do. God made it where you could do it, and only you can do it. Now, that doesn't mean that there are not other people that know how to do what you do as well, because they may be able to do it just as good as you do it. They may be able to have a bigger following. They may have a larger support system, but that doesn't mean anything. That just means that you continue to focus on you and what it is that you're trying to do. You have to be mindful that copycatting is a form of flattery. That means that you're doing something that other people see is important, that they see that you're successful. You know, I had a friend call me and was telling me about a young lady, you know, that she is pretty much copying some of her work ethic. And so I told her, I said, don't worry about that. Obviously, your brand is something to be copied, because you have to understand that competitors only copy what they know is successful. See, when Wendy's came out with the 4 for $4, Burger King had to come out for the 4 for $3. McDonald's had to do the 2 for $5. You have to understand that when you are successful in what it is that you're branding and whatever business that you have, people that copy you, it's gonna eventually happen. I mean, that just means that you're doing something right. And at the end of the day, for Jaja, with television and radio and speaking and hosting, that's what Jaja does. That's my DNA. And you could say half of the things that I say, you could look like me, but there's only one me. God made me the way he made me, and what's for me is for me. And you have to understand that don't be discouraged or frustrated when you see people that are in the same field as you or in the same lane as you trying to do what it is that you're doing. Keep doing you. Stay focused on your goal. Because if you stay focused on your goal, you have no time to worry about what nobody else is doing and how they doing it. But pay attention and also be mindful, because people do copy your stuff and try to play back off of what it is that you're building. And you got to be mindful of that. I see people that repeat things that I say on their platforms, and I think it's cute. I find it amusing. I think it's dope. You know what I'm saying? Because obviously I'm doing something that's worth you repeating. And not only that, but you also be mindful of the haters. Now, the haters are different than the copycatters. See, the difference between a hater and a copycatter wants to be like you, or they see something that you're doing that they like. A hater is going to do whatever it takes to discredit your brand. I had an issue that happened over the weekend that I found out some information that somebody had went and took to somebody else about my show. And I thought to myself, wow, like that's really deep that you would go through my archives of videos to take this back to someone that I'm trying to develop a better relationship with. And I thought it was just so, it was distraught, because I'm just like, well, why would somebody want to do that? Especially somebody in the church, especially somebody that calls himself a quote unquote Christian, but they probably ain't a Christian. They just probably go to church. But you have to be mindful. Haters have time to hate. Okay, they will make time to hate on you. I mean, just think about a lurker, a person that is looking for information. A hater has time to hate. Don't ever get it twisted. They are always looking for something to hate on, whether it be how you look, how you sound, how you do certain things, how you operate with certain people. They are looking for something to hate on you about. And you have to understand how haters work. Haters operate when you operate. As you go up, as you elevate, as you evolve, you're going to get more haters. I mean, it's going to be a plethora of them. It's going to be a group of them together working to conspire against you. But of course, if you're a firm believer in God, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. So it doesn't even matter. They can form. The haters can come together. They can pick it. They can write. They can do all that they can to get you to do whatever it is that they want to get you to concede and do. And the thing about a hater is they're really an admirer. A hater is an admirer, but they don't want to get caught being an admirer because of the things that they've said about you and the ways that they've dealt with you. And you have to be mindful of haters, because haters will say things like, you getting ready to open that up, or I don't think that look right, or here she go again, or, you know, they'll always identify themselves by the things that they say. They'll always identify themselves with the things that they do. You can watch their poise, their position around you, which will let you know how much of a hater they are of yours. And you know, as I go through with television and a lot of things that I've done and a lot of acquaintances and friends that I have in the business, I don't divulge all of the things and the people that I know, because you have to be mindful of what relationships that those people have with them. If you're tuning in, you're tuning into Yeah, I Said It. And before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. It's your girl, Jaja. We're talking about working your brand. And listen, I'm telling you something right now. It's a difference between a critique and criticism. Because haters always criticize. They always have to tell you what's wrong or talking about what's wrong to other people. But when you're being critiqued, it's a way of helping you to formulate a better version of yourself or a better version of your business. See, sometimes we can be so sensitive and in our feelings that we don't know that we're being critiqued and not criticized. But see, within our community, we're so used to being criticized all the time. Your nose too big, your butt too big, your head too big, your hair too this, your hair too nappy, you're this, you're that, you're this, you're that. It's always been a critique for our culture and for our people. So when somebody says something that maybe you need to work on, we freeze up. We go into defense because, you know, why you always picking on me, or why you got something to say about what it is that I'm doing. And it's not so much that somebody's picking on you or saying something about you. It's about critiquing and seeing the better version of what you can be. I remember working for Wayne County, and Miss Garrett would tell, I used to wear every outfit I had eyeshadow that matched. Yeah, it was a phase. And I thought I was doing something too, because it used to be cute. If I had on green, baby, my eyeshadow would be green. It'd be different shades of green. It was popping. I thought it was popping. Until one day she said, you know, you look really nice without all the eyeshadow. We know you have on green. And I was like, what? And I was a little offended. I was just like, well, that, you know, like I'm trying to have my own little style or whatever. But what she was saying is that nobody can see the beauty that you have with all of what you got going on. Like you can kind of bring some of that down, especially in the work environment that we're in. And so sometimes we get so caught up in the criticism or the critique being negative that we don't realize that it's somebody actually trying to help our brand. Your personal brand is a reflection of your business brand. And if somebody if somebody cares enough about you to say, hey, you know, you look really nice with button-up shirts. Have you ever thought about trying to wear some button-ups? And we also got to learn how to talk to each other. We got to learn how to talk to each other where we're effective and not offensive. And when the hater was going through my archives, trying to dig up some dirt to take it to somebody else, that person downplayed it. And not only that, but they let me know how proud they proud of me and just the things that I'm doing and how far I've come with all the things that have transpired in my life. That made me feel good, but I couldn't ignore the fact that a hater really had that much time on their hands to dig up some stuff that had nothing to do with nothing. And it really made me mad, because it was just like, you could have called me and said, hey, maybe you might need to work on this, that, and the third for your show, just so that you can be effective. But no, they decided they wanted to go be a FBI agent and investigate on their own. But that's nor here nor there. They probably watching right now. They probably gonna be watching later. Either way it go, I'm still gonna be winning at the end of the day. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, I said it. And before I take it back, I'm gonna add more to it. At the end of the day, production equals productivity. When you are productive, there's a productivity. Just like anybody that's ever worked for Chrysler, Ford, or GM, or any worked at any plant, When you're productive, that line is productive. You're getting products out. The line is productive. You're moving. You're doing things. Things are going. Things are happening. But when the line is not productive, everybody is dull. Everybody is lackadaisical. Everybody's just kind of just standing around, just doing stuff. And there's no production because there's no productivity. When there's productivity, production can happen. You got to make sure that you're moving, getting things done, moving, getting things done, and not just standing still. When you are productive, it shows in your productivity. And you want to make sure that you are utilizing your talents and your skills to make sure that you're productive. Not only that, but when you are wise in your brand and you're wise in your business, you reinvest in your brand. You reinvest in your business. You reinvest in your personal brand. So if you're looking to be a scholar or a speaker or, whatever the case may be, you're going to start getting you some suits, whether it's from the resale shop or hand-me-downs. If you have a business and you're looking to promote it and market it more, you're going to have to take some L's and take some of that money and reinvest in your business if you're looking for that business to be productive and actually be efficient and effective in the community or whatever it is that you're trying to do. We don't like to reinvest. We like to take the money we make and we go spend it. You can't do that if you're trying to build a brand. If you're trying to build a brand, you're going to have to A, cut corners, B, take some L's, some losses, and C, reinvest whatever you have and take it step by step. Sometimes we are so big on being a boss and being bossy and acting like we got it when we know that we don't. And that pride comes before destruction. And what you end up doing is you'll run into cycles and cycles and cycles of the same thing and not having any productivity. You'll see a lot of things happening, but nothing will really be moving. And not only that, but when you make certain decisions, make sure those decisions qualify for your brand. I made a point that I'm partying with a purpose. I'm not just going to be hanging out just to be hanging out. If I'm going somewhere, it's to connect with some people. If I'm doing something, it's to build my brand. It's to build whatever it is that I'm trying to do. I'm not just about to be hanging out just to be hanging out, because at the end of the day, that's gas, that's money, that's time wasted where I could be doing something else to help what it is that I'm going and what it is that I got going on and what it is that I'm trying to do. And when you do that, you make decisions that qualify for your success. It qualifies for your brand to move forward. You can't make a decision to sit at home all day and you think that money gonna fall in your lap, because it's not. You can't think because you do a little bit on Instagram and a little bit on Facebook that your business is gonna pop. No, you got to get out here in these streets. You got to get out here and talk to these people. You got to get off social media, socializing about nothing, and actually get in relationship with people that may possibly help you. And you got to open your mouth. You got to open up your mouth, because nobody is mind readers around here. No, don't nobody got telepathy. Don't nobody know what you thinking. And I got to figure out what it is that you're trying to say to me and what you thinking and what's your real brand all about. And I got to figure it out, and also know what your brand is. Know what you're trying to deliver. Because if you don't know what it is that you're trying to deliver, then at the end of the day, you're going to be delivering nothing. Talking about a whole lot of something and delivering nothing. And if you're tuning in to, yeah, I said it, and before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. And I know y'all heard me the first time. And nobody got time to be playing with y'all. We talking about working your brand. When you work your brand, you have to grind it out. There are times that I'm upset, I'm sad, I'm mad, but at the end of the day, I know I got to put a video up. I know that I got to go promote. I know that I got to go do a wedding. I know that I got to go do a consultation. I know that I have to go and meet with some people. I got to go talk to some people. I may not always feel the best, but I know I got to grind. If I plan on ever being effective, there has to be some grit and grind to this thing. You can't expect for nothing to just fall out of the sky and you pop it. And I know it can look like some of these Insta famous people just got famous overnight, but they were doing videos a long time before people actually was following them. They were doing hair and doing work a long time before people actually started acknowledging what it is that they're doing. Your time is coming. Your time is coming. Don't rush your process. Don't microwave your success because you're ready for it now. Listen, good things take time like an oven, baby. You can't put an apple pie in a microwave and expect it to taste the same as if it was in the oven. Okay? Listen, I'm trying to tell you. It's your girl, Jaja. You listening to, yeah, I said it. Before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. Don't microwave your success. itching for that dollar or itching for that money. Because what'll happen is you'll get disappointed every time because your expectations will not exemplify the grind and the grit that you put in for it. What you put in is what you get out. And if you ain't putting nothing in, you ain't gonna get nothing out. And not only that, but you gotta watch the watchers. You gotta watch the people that's just watching. They ain't saying nothing. They ain't doing nothing. They ain't helping you with nothing. They just watching. Be mindful of them. Because right now you're trying to build a brand. And if you're connected to people that just watch you grind, watch you grit, watch you struggle, watch you need help, they just watching you like a hawk. You got to be mindful of those people because they're either waiting for you to succeed or they're waiting for you to fail. It's only two things that they watching you. They watching for you to succeed or they watching for you to fail. Be mindful of the watchers. Be mindful of the people that are willing to watch you do what it is that you're doing and not be involved at all. And I'm talking about with personal relationships. And not only that, but know the difference between personal and business. A lot of us get caught up with our brand not excelling because there are personal relationships that hinder your business relationships, or there are personal relationships that you've had that may either help or hurt your business relationship, or a business relationship that may hurt your personal brand. Have you ever been at work or worked for a company or an organization and you find out that these people are brothers and sisters, or these people are husband and wife, or these people are dating, or these people used to date, or these people somebody used to watch a kid when they was a little kid and now they all grown up and you didn't even know that there was a dynamic there. And so you end up getting caught into a situation that is like, okay, how is this going to be effective when there is too much personal involved in the business? You got to be able to learn how to separate the two. Because if you don't separate the two, you'll be running into a double-headed moron. What'll happen is you'll have two heads on one body fighting with each other. And then you don't understand why we're not being effective is because you got to separate the two. Learn when things are personal and when they should be personal, and when things should be business and business only. Because when you combine the two, you run into a tsunami, okay? And what a tsunami is a hurricane on steroids. Because decisions won't get made effectively, feelings get involved, and people may feel slighted. You won't know how to rebound from certain things because of what happened at home, and you bring it into the workplace. And it just becomes a slew of things. I know that my sisters and I, we were having some challenges in our relationship. And it's like we all go to the same church. You know what I'm saying? So it is a display of us having challenges amongst where we are. People feel when there's discourse. People feel when there is people that are not on one accord. And so we're talking about working your brain. You're listening to I Said It, and before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. And you also have to understand that as the seasons change, so does your brand. You got to think about it. The wigs they was wearing in the 60s and the 70s are not the wigs that they wearing now, honey. Some of y'all don't even know that you wearing a wig or if they wearing a wig or not, because the seasons have changed. The brand has changed. It's okay to do something different than what you've done before. Sometimes we have a tendency of holding on to things that we need to either A, let go of, B, change the outcome of, or just do something different altogether. Don't be afraid of change. Don't be afraid of doing something different. And believe you me, listen, for anybody that knows me, knows that I wore pearls for years. I mean, pearls, you couldn't get me out my pearls. They was calling me Barbara Bush. That's how many pearls I was wearing. I was wearing pearl bracelets, pearl necklace, pearl earrings. That's because of the environment, the government environment that I'm in. When you're in a political environment, you want to look clean cut. When I stepped out into entrepreneurship, I had to change up a lot of different things and a lot of ways that I was doing. Was it scary? Oh my God, yes. I was terrified. But I also understood that if I plan on expanding my brand and being able to connect with all different types of people, that I was going to have to make myself not only relatable to these people, but my brand was going to have to change, because people only knew me in this aspect. And you got to be careful of people that only know you in that aspect. You have to be mindful that it's okay to change it up, switch it up, try new things. That's how singers can go from rap to pop, and from pop to R&B, and from R&B to rock, and they can coincide and do different melodies and music together, because they're stepping out on faith and they're taking a leap. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But you have to be mindful that at least you took that leap. Okay, that didn't work. Okay, let me try this. This is different. And don't get stuck in trying, because sometimes we get our feelings hurt because we've tried and it didn't work out the way that we wanted it to. And believe you me, I am resilient. I'm going to try until the day I die, okay? And at the end of the day, I've had some things happen to me personally that could have negatively affected my business brand. Just challenges and tragedies and trials and tribulations that I've gone through that could possibly, had I not utilized them for my benefit and utilized them for what it is that I'm building, they could have easily tarnished my brand, because your personal brand coincides with your business brand all day long. You know, if you're into modeling or rapping or whatever the case may be, your personal brand is a reflection of your business brand. If people don't like you personally, they won't do business with you. If people don't want to fool with you on a personal level, they won't want to fool with you on a business level, because they feel that those are two. They coincide together. And not only that, but we got to get to a point where we meditate and we marinate. Stop making quick decisions and just doing things for reactions. You got to meditate and just think about, sit yourself down and really think about, okay, what it is that I'm doing. How's this going to help me? Is this the right decision for me? Like, really sit down and really think about it. I've rushed a lot of things, and because I rushed a lot of things, I end up with the hurt and the challenges and the regret, because I didn't let that meditate. I didn't let it marinate. I didn't let that thing sit and really digest what it is that I wanted from it. I didn't let what my goals and my aspirations and my visions, how did that coincide with my decision making? And when you're meditating and you're reflecting on what it is that you want to do, you're able to move a lot different, and God can really talk to you, and you can really have an open ear for what it is that you want out of life. Because if you just always listening to music and you always got something in your ear and you don't never have a quiet time, sometimes quiet time will make you feel lonely because there's nobody there. But sometimes that loneliness is also a sign of peace. I came from a family of chaos. 5 brothers and 5 sisters and 3 brothers. That's a lot of siblings in a household. And it was always a lot going on. So when I finally got to a place where it was just me, and I didn't hear the chatter and the arguing and the confusion and the loud TVs and this is my TV and where the remote and I'm out to go and this, that, and the third, it made me feel lonely. But it was actually God giving me peace. And sometimes peace may look like loneliness if you're not paying attention to what it is that you're asking for. Some of you are asking for peace, but you feel lonely. And it's not loneliness, it's actually God giving you peace from headaches, distractions, problems, issues that don't concern you, that may actually stress you out a lot more than what you need to. Right now, I'm not allowing nothing to stress me out. I'm not allowing nobody to stress me out. If I can't handle it, I don't want to be bothered with it. I'm giving it over to God. If I don't want to deal with you, I'm not going to deal with you. I'm going to pray for you, and I'm going to be on about my business, because obviously God has another relationship that's going to be better than the one that I've started with you. And you got to understand that it's okay to let certain people go. It's people that are dead and deceased that I wish I had the power to bring them back and resurrect them and bring them back alive, and you could be dead. I would switch you up in a minute. So you have to understand that in this season of working your brand, in this season of making sure that you're good, making sure that your brand is good, you have to understand what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And not only that, but working on your responses, working on how you deal with people, working on what your words are saying to other people. And not only that, but you also have to understand that God is playing chess, not checkers. See, we trying to hop over things, get things popping, and God is saying, if I make one strategic move, you win the game. If I place you in one particular area, it'll blow your world up. Because we're playing checkers, keep up, hop over, double tap me, get over here, do all of this, do all of that. We playing checkers because we trying to make it work. But God is saying, nah, I want to get you at a place where you don't have to worry about trying to hop over somewhere and for somebody to king you. You just gonna say checkmate. Checkmate. Game over. She won. Then looking at the pieces of your life sometimes will make you feel like, oh my God, this is crazy. What is going on with my world? I was not supposed to be here. I'm 30 something, I'm 40 something, I'm 50 something. This is not my life. What happened? No, you cannot consume yourself with that. What you can consume yourself with is bettering your brand, bettering your life, focusing on your goals, focusing on what it is that you need to do, being around the people that can help you obtain your goals, magnifying your brand, making sure that it is what it is, making sure that it is what you see in your vision, what it looks like. And if it's not, go back to the drawing board. Get you a pen, get you a piece of paper. I write everywhere I go. Anybody that knows me know I always have a sheet of paper. I write with my eyeliner. I write with my mascara. If it's something on my mind that I got to get off, because obviously God has a reason for me. He has a reason for it to be in my spirit and drop in my mind. So I got to make sure that I write it down. If you're tuning in, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It, and before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. And we're talking about working your brand. And let me tell you something. There is no unforeseen circumstance that will hinder your brand from happening, whether it be a car accident, a fire, homelessness, not having money, whatever it is, whatever your unforeseen circumstance may be, it will not stop you from building your brand. Because at the end of the day, God is going to send you people. He'll send you support. He'll send you angels that will assist you along the way. I never thought in a million years that I would be able to count on certain people that you think that some people that you think you can count on that you can't count on. And then there are those people that God will send you that you can count on that you couldn't believe in a million years that you would be counting on. And not only that, shine through it all. I refuse to look like what I've been through. I refuse to be depressed. I refuse to be suicidal. I refuse to look like anything that has happened to me, because I'm going to shine. The Bible says, let your light so shine before men that they see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. And I don't got time to be a night light when I know I've been called to be a spotlight. And some of you are wasting your watts when you should be getting voltage. Okay? You should have volts instead of watts. See, some of you aren't getting the footwork the way you want to because you're treating yourself small. Stop treating yourself so small. And it don't matter what nobody else. When I stopped focusing on what people was talking about and I started focusing on what I'm talking about, I was able to excel and get my brand up. I was able to expound, because let me tell y'all something. The God I serve, my name is already famous. I'm named after Zsa Zsa Gabor, so I ain't really got to do a lot because my name already famous. I just got to walk into my light and walk into the version that God has called me to be. So people they ain't gonna get it twisted to try to find me. You just make sure that you work on your brand and make sure that your brand coincides with what it is that you're trying to do. Listen, it's your girl, Zsa Zsa. You're tuning into Yeah, I Said It. And before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. I'm talking about working your brand. And before I go, listen, there are consequences to every action. Make sure that the things that you're doing are reflective of your brand. Make sure that the things that you're doing are reflective to your brand. And not only that, but commitment is for a lifetime. Don't give up on your goals. Don't give up on your brand. Don't give up on your dream because it may not work the way you want it to work. Sometimes God may have you go a different route than the way you want it to go. But don't give up on it. If you ain't going to be committed to nothing, be committed to you. Because ain't nobody going to love you the way that you love you. And ain't nobody going to be committed to you or your brand the way that you are. Commit to that thing. Stay focused to that thing. Listen, in the next 6 months, you may be on the radio. In the next 6 months, I may be on TV. Hint, hint. But at the end of the day, you got to commit to what it is that you're doing. You stay committed to it. It may not fall the way you want it to fall, but if you stay committed to that thing, people will see, oh, you was doing such and such, or you was doing such and such. People see me all the time like, girl, yeah, I said it, and before I take it back, I'm gonna add more to it. And before I leave this earth, I'll have the world saying my taglines. I'll have the world wearing my products. I'll have the world shopping at my stores, and my venues, and my businesses. But you gotta speak those things that are not as though they are. And it may not look like it right now because of what your reality is, but at the end of the day, God will make sure that He exemplifies everything that you want out of life. But you got to make right decisions, because right decisions equal better consequences. But when you make bad decisions, you're gonna have to lay in the bed that you made. Okay? Now listen, I'm not trying to be on y'all nerves, and I ain't trying to get on y'all nerves, because I got stuff to do and y'all got stuff to do. I'm at Evolution Beauty Bar, so if you want to get cute, okay, we got stylists up in here to get you together. And you know I'm your girl, I'm your lash tech, so I get all your little eyes together. Okay, ladies, you know what I'm saying? And fellas, you can come up here too and get waxed, come talk to me. I'm up here at Evolution Beauty Bar, 17815 West 7 Mile in Southfield. I would love to see you, love to hang out with you. We got some amazing stylists here that'll get you together. And listen, at the end of the day, our goal for our brand is to make money. But don't be so greedy to make $1 that you forget about the brand that you're building. Don't be so greedy and conniving and scamming and slimy that you forget the team that you have. Don't be so focused on the dollar, because $1 will come if you treat the people around you right. If you treat them right, that money will come. If you do what you're supposed to do, people will patronize. And we got to do better with supporting each other. If you don't have the money to actually support, it's not a problem with sharing a video, reposting a video. It's not a problem with referring someone. Don't be so quick to hoard all your opportunities to yourself. Anybody that knows me, I'm always trying to help somebody get on, put on, do whatever we got to do, collaborate, work together. Because at the end of the day, if we don't work together, those other ethnicities, they work together regardless if they like each other or not. And at the end of the day, this government shutdown, it's not just affecting us as black people because we're the minority. Let me tell y'all something. There are a plethora of other ethnicities that are on government assistance, and it's white people. Don't ever get it twisted. And I love all my white people viewers, but this is true. If we are the minority, then who is the majority of people on government assistance? See, political leaders want to make you forget and make you become misled that we're the only people on welfare, or we're the only people that utilize these services. No, on the contrary, it is not so. Let me tell you something. Other ethnicities, especially white people, poor white people, are utilizing all of those services, bridge cards, Section 8s, WIC programs, all of those different things. But what I will say is, if we support each other the way that we're supposed to, none of us will be affected by a government shutdown. If we actually lift each other up the way that we should, none of us will have any trouble this season. They can shut down whatever they want to shut down. But if we work together in unison and we build each other up and we refer each other and we support, we share, we purchase, we make sure that we're sharing opportunities, none of us will be affected by that. None of us will be affected. Our brands won't be affected. If anything, our brands will be much better because now we've built a bigger platform and we've worked together. And I'm going to tell you something and I'm going to go. Our ethnicity knows how to work things from nothing. We come from nothing and we make something out of nothing. We've turned rotten peaches into peach cobbler. We've gotten tore up clothes and made outfits. We've had sackcloth and made quilts. We've had rundown shoes and made sandals. So there is nothing that we cannot do. I mean, think about it. We got people in prison that's making cook-ups. We got people at home that's trying to put an antenna, a hanger in an antenna on the TV. We are we've created and invented everything. Look at our black history. Everything that we have, from the traffic light to the refrigerator, we have created. We are the visionaries. We are the creative ones. We are the chosen people. But you got to understand that in order for us to be effective and work the way that they did at that time, is we got to understand that we're not each other's enemies. And if one of us gets ahead of the other person, that doesn't mean that you're not coming right behind them. But make room for your brother or sister. Don't be so selfish that you don't see the people behind you that's waiting on you. Harriet Tubman said that I would have freed more slaves if they only knew that they were free. We have to understand that we have a duty and an obligation, not only for us to help each other, but to help the people that are coming behind us, our children, our teenagers, our senior citizens. They're all dependent on us. And you got to make a decision in your mind to work your brand and not let your brand work you. Listen, it's your girl, Jaja. You're listening to Yeah, I Said It. And before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. Make sure y'all share the video. I love y'all. Peace.